Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge Coggins, you used to work for Governor Jerry Brown,
That is correct, Senator.
and I believe you advised him on issues regarding parole.
As the governor under the California Constitution, when the parole board recommends that a inmate be paroled, that matter then comes before the governor to determine whether he's going to reverse that recommendation.
Did you
Or
advise him on parole?
I was not advising him. What I provided was all background information. So the nature and circumstances of the particular case that was before us. I was looking at the correctional file. In addition, I was
Do you
reviewing.
remember a parolee named James Schoenfeld?
I don't, Senator.
Okay. You talked a lot about, as did you all appropriately, about juveniles in your testimony. Governor Brown in 2015 paroled Mr. James Schoenfeld. He was convicted of kidnapping 26 kids, juveniles, and burying them alive. Were you with Governor Brown then? Judge?
I left in 2015, so I'm unsure of the time period in which that occurred.
This happened in 2015.
That name is not familiar to me. What I can say is those decisions
Do you
are.
remember the case?
I do not.
Okay. When it happened, it got a lot of publicity in California. Did you call Judge Brown or Governor Brown and say, Governor, I love you, but what planet did you just parachute in from? Why have you done this?
I did not.
Do you agree with this decision?
I would need to look at the file. I don't know the context. I don't know the background, the insight, and the decision that Governor Brown would make is whether the parolee poses an unreasonable risk to the safety of the community. And
Do you think kidnapping 26 juveniles and burying them alive presents a risk to the community?
I certainly believe that if that individual is convicted of those crimes, which it sounds like he was,
Yeah.
he would be a risk to the community.
But you don't have an opinion about whether Governor Brown did the right thing?
Again, Senator, I would have to be able to look at the complete file and all of the considerations required of the governor, who ultimately makes the decision.
So he might have done the right thing, in your opinion?
I would want to look at the complete file in order to make an assessment.
All right, Judge.
Love Senator Kennedy from the great state of Louisiana. He's always got great one-liners and quips, but here, I think he was pretty straightforward. Why did the governor of California, Mr. Brown, allow a guy who kidnapped 26 children and buried them alive? Why did he parole that person? And this person was working for Governor Brown, who wants to be a judge, and she couldn't say, I would never support this kind of behavior. This kind of behavior is a threat to the community. She couldn't even say that. I don't know. I'd have to look into it. These hearings, sadly, are almost useless because these people will never take accountability for anything. They will never say that crime is wrong because that's what they want in America. Now, if it's January 6th and you were a grandma and walked through the Capitol, we're going to throw the book at you. But if you burned Minneapolis to the ground during the George Floyd riots, our vice president and her cronies will bail you out. And that's the world that we live in. It's truly sad that we don't punish crime. And that's why the defund the police movement is so bad. And that's why these liberal George Soros district attorneys who are ruining our cities, same thing. And then these people shake their heads and wonder, why is it so dangerous in LA, San Francisco, New York City, any of these big cities? And then when you hear liberals talk about it, they say, oh, crime has gone down in most major cities. Okay, let's talk about that. No, it hasn't. First of all, no one's prosecuting crime. That's the only reason why it may look like crime is going down, because they're not being prosecuted. People are committing the crimes and they are going unreported because they are not being prosecuted. Also, a lot of these major cities are sanctuary cities. Guess what that means? You can be there no matter if you're illegal or not. So there's a lot of crimes right there being excused. Liberalism is a disease, and people like Kennedy need to try their very hardest to keep these people off the bench, because they are activist judges who will ultimately harm Americans no matter what their political ideology is. Don't forget, criminals don't check your voter registration before they kidnap your child and bury him alive.